Yep.
Okay, so maybe I should stand and talk. I didn't think I might need a mic in this room. This room is small. I don't really want to stand and talk. All right, so welcome and greetings. All of you should have seen the agenda. It was nicely copied, and I didn't notice it on the papers that you got that Barb so nicely did. Thank you, Barb. And it's in your folder. Short agenda, but there'll be a lot that we're going to discuss today. So this is the fourth time the AGM is being held in Toronto. The fourth time. The three other towers have had the AGMs 4 times, and that's Washington, Boston, and Victoria. And we have representatives from all 3 of those towers here today. We have Faith representing Victoria, a slew of people from Washington, and we have Josh and Sam from Boston. So I'm pleased to do that. In 2001 was the 30th meeting, and we had Enid Roberts, who was president of ANZAC, came. And we had 77 people taking the pre-AGM course. 77 people signed up, and that was quite a task. The 40th annual general meeting was 2011, and some of you I know will remember the underwear incident.
The camera's picking up.
Oh, so I've got to sit down.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, thank you, Tom. So in 2017, the last time we
Most
were
of us don't
here,
remember the incident.
Some of us still know about the incident.
the underwear incident, you'll have to ask somebody else. I'm not going to go into it now, but there are some people here that were in 2011 that will give you the information on the underwear incident. So that's something we could talk about tonight at dinner.
Yeah.
In 2017, the last time we were in Toronto, it was the 46th meeting,
Yeah.
and there were 14 towers. Oklahoma was represented. Belgium was represented by Greg Woods, which is unfortunately he's passed on. And we had some UK representatives here. This year is the 52nd annual general meeting. We have 16 towers. California. Hi, Laura. And Ross from the UK. So we're pleased here to have everybody here.
I know how that goes. Yeah. Yep.
Who's not muted?
I've definitely lost people too. Yeah.
Please
You,
mute
Callie.
yourself. Callie.
No, it's just, I get it. When you're just in the doldrums sometimes, that's just how it is.
We're not listening to Kelly.
Muted her.
Oh.
Go. Do it.
I can't.
I got it.
Oh.
You get him?
I can't hear you.
I couldn't get him either.
I got it.
It's the first AGM. in Raleigh, we weren't using Zoom, but this is the first time we're doing Zoom plus. All right, so. Now it says the host would like you to unmute. I don't unmute myself.
Nope.
Because otherwise we're gonna have a,
No.
all right,
Can you hear out there in the outside world now?
okay.
Yes, they can hear.
This is the first AGM for several members here, and I'm pleased to see so many new people here. So I know it's Micah's first AGM, and I think it's Maisie's first AGM. And it's your first AGM, Jackie, my scribe here. And let me think, who else might be their first AGM?
Oh, no, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. All right. Well, anyhow, let's move on. So, we have the following honorary life members here in attendance: Quilla, Beverly, Faith, and myself. So I was pleased that these people were able to come. The executive, everybody is here, and I'll introduce them when I do the state of the guild, but they're all here except for Mary, who is unfortunately nursing a broken shoulder / arm / whatever. And we're pleased to have her here though in on Zoom. So we also have past members of the executive here. So Candace Higginbottom is here. Beverly's here. Faith is here, and Chris Haller's here. Did I miss anybody? Well, I guess I should give the names. Tom is here, Tom Farley, Public Relations Officer, Rob Bannister. Wait, Quilla, we all know Quilla. Quilla, hello. Josh Burson, who is our newsletter editor, and Rick Dupuy, who is the field secretary. Okay, all right. So that's the welcome and greetings. Apologies for absence keeps growing because people have been sending me emails. I will mention the first ones. Madeline and Nick Cheeseman were very upset that the meeting coincided with a cruise they had planned several years before. So she wrote to me and said she was very sorry not to be here. Alan Nunley, who is here actually online, but he sent his apologies.
Yeah.
Winston and Wendy Moody, who I think are also online. Yolanda Hasselo, she's also online. Obviously Mary. Also heard from Bob and Marty Aldinger, who I think are also online now. Maggie and Dick Durnley. Diane Amison Loring. Peter Trotman. Margot Acom. Lynn Codridge. Do I have any others names who'd like to be noted as apologizing for not being here today? Okay, so that's good. Loss of members through death. Unfortunately, I'm going to talk about Penny Elizabeth Moriarty Work, who was a past member. She was also a founding member of the guild. And Quilla gave me that information, and she was a girls' school student. Washington Girls School. Dorothy Meacham died December 20th, 2022. Dorothy was an original ringer at St. Michael's Charleston after they restored the bells. And she was a member ever since. And I don't think she ever let her membership lapse. I guess Mary could let me know about that, but she always opened her home when there was like touring PL bands or visitors coming, when it was Ring Around Charleston or when they had the AGM. A lovely lady who then moved to Frederick, rang a few times in Frederick, and unfortunately passed away last December. I found out just this past week about Robert Bob McDonald, Newcastle ringer. He became a member in 1992. He was a strong supporter of Bell's, and I know he was an active member at the time of his death too. Sue Klopper, some of you know the name, as a Newcastle ringer for years and years and years, didn't even know that he had passed away. But she said she will write an obituary for the next Klopper with a current picture. I will also mention Madeline Reeder, a UK ringer who was a strong supporter of North American ringing. She came to quite a few of our quarter peel weekends and brought a couple of tours over and toured all around. And then, of course, there's Bob Smith, who was another staunch North American supporter. So I'd like to stand and have a minute of silence in memory of these people. Thank you. Minutes of the 2022 AGM were posted on a little board. Thanks to David who did that with me. I don't think they're here now, but I think they're still over there. Okay, and they were in the annual report and they were in the Clapper, the October, the fall issue of the Clapper last year. Do I have a motion to adopt the minutes of last year's AGM?
I'll move. Helen Haller.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Linda Rankin, Kansas, Hagen, so a lot of people, okay, Linda Rankin. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any against? Okay. That minutes adopted. I'll ask now, were there any matters arising from those minutes? I guess so. Okay, and then we'll do the same now for the adoption of the 2022 annual report, which was this pink one. Those of you that get the printed copies receive this. Otherwise, you got it online. So can I get a motion to adopt the annual report of 2022? Charles? Mumford? Second, Beverly Fagan. Okay, which Charles? All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? It's up. Okay, I will bring to your attention the desk set, the inkstand that has a varied history about it, and there is a sheet about it. And there's also a picture and some information. I want to thank Brian Zook, who brought it across the border for me because he drove and I didn't really want to take it online. Thank you. I didn't want to take it on a plane. And it was given as a wedding gift to Margaret Shercliffe, Dr. Nichols' daughter. She was the first American woman to ring a peal, and she introduced handbell ringing to the United States. So information about that's on the website and here if you want to look at that later. I'll also bring your attention to one of the peal books that George Barrett brought over for Rick, because he didn't want to schlep it on the plane, and she drove it across the border. So
And
that,
that will be in the tower again tomorrow,
okay, so we can look at that.
here
That's
this afternoon.
That's one of 7 volumes. And what we haven't continued to talk about is we're ever going to print anymore. So it's 7 volumes. I think that's what, to 2003? Okay. So we have 20 years of peels that haven't been printed. Okay, so the state of the guild. And that's my piece that I will read mostly. I will start by saying that I think 2023 has been a much better year than 2022 for the guild. For me, though, the second year without Bruce has been more difficult. But having to work on guild business has kept me from thinking too much. The team that is in place, your executive, those people right on that front row, are a very committed group that work tirelessly for the NAGCR. We meet regularly on Sunday evenings at 7:30 p.m. via Zoom, Eastern Time. And that's probably one of the only good things to come out of COVID, is being able to have all these people from all over the country and, well, all over the continent, I should say, online listening to us. And we're able to do it also every 4 to 6 weeks. And we discuss and review the business of the guild. 7:30 on a Sunday night, I bet a lot of people are just relaxing, thinking about watching TV, maybe a game, and thinking about the work week coming up. I can't praise enough jobs, and it is work, that Josh, our newsletter editor, Quilla, our education officer, Tom, our public relations officer, Mary, our membership secretary, Rob Bannister, our treasurer, new treasurer, and Rick, our appeals secretary, do. Additionally, Kemp, our website, works on the website as his time allows. What has happened on the website now is that the brochure that we have is now able to be downloaded. He pulled it off the last website, and you can download it now and print it out on an 8.5 by 11 sheet, rather than that 11 by 17 sheet that people complained about. And it was the glossy sheet that couldn't be folded and put in an envelope. This year, we have 3 Jeff Smith Young Ringer awardees. We have Olivia Tingley from Orleans, Sarah Cummings from Indianapolis, and Maisie Hoffman, who is here today from Northampton. So it's great to see her here. I'll also say that we also have Sam Ratcliffe here as a previous award winner. I think that was the first year, 2019. So Sam is here and he's still ringing. So that's fantastic. That is great. So look for the details about next year. I think Tom probably already has them ready to go. And going on to Tom, he's been very busy with the online gatherings. While not as necessary, and I put necessary in quotes, as they were during COVID, they have provided isolated ringers like Laura, who's from California, with opportunities. And there have been some excellent presentations, which can now be viewed on our YouTube channel. So I thank Tom for that. And I think I have the dates of January 27th and April 27th as the 2024 OGRs. Well, at least the first half of the year. Our peels and quarters have increased this year, and I thank Rick for keeping the records in good shape and providing answers to those members with peels and quarter peel questions. Our membership numbers have improved a bit, and I thank Mary for all her hard work in sending out the various reminders, messages, and membership information packets, as well as responding to many individual member issues. But we still need to work on increasing our membership. And I think we all wish Mary to get well, and hopefully her ringing won't be impacted too much with this injury. Rob has moved beautifully into the treasurer's role and is right on top of our handling all our monies. He is very much appreciated, as he has had to take on a bit more this year with our relationship with the Association of Ringing Teachers and all the disbursements and expenses associated with this activity. I want to thank also Ann Hutton for handling the Canadian account. Ann is from Vancouver. Josh continues to improve our award-winning newsletter, The Clapper, and it has grown so much that he hopes someone would volunteer to be his editorial assistant. But we'll talk about that more under new business. Quilla has led the red team this year. The red team includes Candace, who's sitting back here, Alan, who's online, Sue O'Neill, who's here, Tom Farthing, myself, and Greg Russell. Is Greg online?
No.
Okay. 8 art teaching modules were scheduled this year. She coordinated with the venues, with David Smith, the Anzab art tutor, and kept unbelievable records of all participants. An outshoot of RED, which is the Ringing Education Development Discussion Team, is the R&R Committee, which Yolanda Hasselo from Calgary, and I know Yolanda's on, is chairman. The others on the R&R committee, Quilla, myself, Tom, Donna McEwen, I don't know if she's on, and Charles.
Donna is on.
Donna's on, okay.
And for the record, R&R stands
For
for,
recruitment and retention. And it's interesting because I was looking at a recent Ringing World and they have in the Ringing World the column from 100 years ago, and the topic was recruiting. And it's just a topic that's never going to go away. It's going to be constantly with us. So we'll hear more about the R&R a bit later and RED in this meeting. All of the executive are willing and happy to continue with their respective positions. But I remind you that nominations are open until October 6th. I will also mention that Yolanda has an article in this week's Ringing World. And I'll talk about the Ringing World a little later too, but it's about the trip to the other Westminster Abbey, the one in Canada. So congratulations to Yolanda on that. All three of the Central Council reps traveled at their own expense to Ipswich in England to attend the Central Council's AGM earlier this month. And we'll hear about the meeting a little later from Beverly. Events this year and for next year are coming back. So keep your eye on the calendar, on the website, and in the clapper, as they're always listed. And it is hoped that they will be supported. This year, we've had new events, including second Saturday quarter peel attempts at Northampton and Mission's anniversary weekend and the Bruce Butler Memorial Ringing Weekend. Returning events include the Seven Towers Festival, Kalamazoo's Ringing Weekend, Kent Smith area meetings, and next year we're going to have a very special Chicago's annual Tower Bash. We might hear a little more about that. I probably have missed others that is going to be coming around. I would love to see Ring Around Charleston come back. You'll take that as a hint. These are great opportunities to improve your ringing and make new friends. I have contacted several inactive towers, dormant towers over these past few months, and have had some very positive responses. And it is hoped that these towers will come back. The second half of our century is starting on the right note and is full of hope for ringing. If you have some time and want to volunteer help, please do get in touch, as there are things that you can help with. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit too. I thank you for your support and belief in the NAGCR, and I'm thrilled that you were able to attend, if not in person, but on Zoom. So that is the state of the Guild, although it's not everything about the Guild. I'm now going to ask, we had an executive committee meeting last Sunday evening, and then we had one this morning. The only real action that was taken was that the exchange rates between Canada and the US, there's not going to be any changes. So everything is going to stay the same. Right? Right. Okay. Interims were posted. And they were also in the beautiful file that Tom did, the directory, and I don't know if people got to read them online or read them in the tower. Are there any questions about any of the interims that you would like to ask? No. Okay. So, old business. Old business. Handbills are available. They're presently in Washington, D.C. Please make your interest known if you would like to borrow them. It's usually for a year, unless nobody asks them, and they stay in the tower where they are for another year. The book service has been dissolved. At some point, we'll get it off the website, because I did get, wouldn't you know it, 2 requests for books. I guess about 3, maybe in May. And I was able to direct them where to go. But I will say that I will order personally for anybody that wants Ringing World Diaries and calendars through myself. 'Cause I still have a UK bank account. I will also order the Coleman books, because they're not that easy to get the Coleman books. They don't take PayPal. So. Okay, then let's move on. Tom, do you want to say a few words about Milwaukee and Chicago at this point?
Just curious. Hey, Ellen, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me from here. That's, oh wow, all right. So Milwaukee, there's a church that has assumed responsibility for the bells. They have a tower. It's similar to what I said last year. And they're still interested, but there's hoops that have to, and commitments and vestry approval. But it seems like it's still a go. That's not Roland's bells? That's Roland.
Yes.
That's right, yeah. But yeah, questions about Milwaukee? It's not done yet, obviously, but it seems they're still, I think they're gonna do it. And they've had the tower already, been there for years. Right, Chicago, the great news is the bells are in and they're fabulous. Except they're really loud in the in both inside and outside. Sound control, it's not really effective yet, and I'm really hoping we can nudge to get that taken care of. And they're too loud inside the tower, and there's things to do to the ceiling that can be done, and I'm really hoping that we can nudge to do that. It's a matter of convincing people that don't know about bells within the university. When they don't know about bells, say, well, this isn't right. Why? It seems right to me. It's not right. So we got work to do, and it's great. Cole had some helps about, saying it's me just saying it's not right is one thing. Having said it's not right because the sound level is too high. Here's another number, stuff like that. So there's work to do. So come ring these really fabulous bells.
Bring the earplugs.
At some point, hopefully not, but yeah, for the moment, yeah. And as you mentioned, we've been for over 10 years. We've had a Illinois Bell Bash Tower Bell Bash in May, and we'll do that again. I don't have a date, but we'll do that again, and I'm going to try to expand that to a couple days.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Thank you. I'm going to ask the red person, Quilla Roth, to talk about what happened this past July and before.
Okay, I'm hoping online can hear me. Yes. Okay. So Red was with me this year. We started the year talking with the Association of Ringing Teachers and with ANZAB and amongst ourselves about developing courses or offering courses. We did a survey. This is 2 surveys we've done now. You may have forgotten, and many people responded. This one was directed at people who are interested in teaching to find out if they were interested in courses. And it appeared they were. So we managed to coordinate with the Association of Ringing Teachers in England and with David Smith from ANZAB to actually offer them the 4 weekends in July in Marietta, one weekend, Boston the next one, Washington the next one, Vancouver the next one. And 44 students attended, of whom 25, so there are 2 courses. We did one course, 2 days, one course per day. And 44 students attended, 25 took both courses, and 15 towers were represented, which was really, really nice because it meant there was a lot of guild participation. We're setting up bi-monthly Zoom meetings alternating starting in October, every other month, to try to keep some momentum amongst the people who attended the class and other people who are interested in teaching. And this is kind of discussion stuff. The first one is October 21st, right? 21st, third Saturday. And the topic is teaching ringing scary? If yes, what can we do to make it less scary? So that's what's, we hope to talk about. And then there are various and other, whatever else, and then there are, you know, other topics that have been suggested. We're in the process of trying to develop a half-day in-person course that we hope to offer in the next 6 months, so the next year, to help people improve, how to improve your teaching, tips and tricks. And one of the things is, especially, how can you improve your teaching when you don't have anybody to teach? There is a discussion for all of the people who are here who attended the class. We hope you'll come after this meeting to get you together and have a discussion and a Q&A. So anybody who wants to know more about what we're doing, what the courses were, whether they were really disgusting or stupendous, stay here or, you know, come right back.
And it'll still be,
It will
we'll still
be
have the Zoom on.
people, yeah.
Yeah, the Zoom will still remain on for those who want to stay on for that. Okay, thank you, Quilla. Recruitment and retention, Charles is going to do a couple of minutes telling what we
Everyone
do.
hear me?
Yeah,
Great.
doing the Yolanda.
So as Eileen said earlier, we started the recruitment and retention committee. Yolanda is our fearless leader, along with myself, Eileen, Tom, Quilla, and Donna. Some of the stuff that, one of the reasons that we wanted to create this committee was to help towers with recruitment and retention efforts, and to provide a toolbox, like we try to get some resources together and provide a toolbox, and also people to discuss recruitment stuff with. We all know that recruitment is hard. Some of the stuff that we've been working on, we've got a couple of articles in the Clapper. Yolanda wrote a great one back in the spring about recruitment. I wrote one in the July Clapper retention. We've also started getting some of our learners throughout the guild to write little sections, little blurbs about their experiences, to kind of so that everyone knows what's going on in that space.
So please do that more on Sunday.
We've also started gathering a bunch of resources together to start getting a recruitment and retention toolbox together with some resources and stuff for all the towers. We've also done some online recruiting through the online gathering. And then we've actually had a tower reach out to us about having some discussions about recruitment and retention for their tower. We're looking forward to helping them with support there. We asked if you are interested about recruitment and retention, please let us know, and we'd love to have you come to one of our meetings and provide some information about what you're doing in your tower. And feel free to reach out to Yolanda if you have any questions.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, new business, talking about looking for people to help and assist. The Central Council is looking for volunteers for various activities. And one of them is something we could easily get ourselves involved in. The Historical and Archive Work Group has this peel board project. They're looking for peel boards to go into a database, pictures and information. And we have quite a few peel boards in North America that we could photograph and share with I think it's Richard Andrews over there, Richard Andrews, who is the head of the work group.
So would you like me to give the email address?
You can give the email address. I was going to share there's an article in the August 25th issue,
Right.
and there's all kinds of information. What I would like is someone maybe to take this on as a North American liaison and go write a message to people that have peel boards, or ask each tower to take pictures of their peel boards, send it to the liaison, who could then send it as a group into Richard. That was a possibility. So if anybody's interested in that, or if you just want to take a picture of your own peel boards in your towers, you can just send it on yourself. And what, you want to give that information, Helen? You have it?
Yes, I do. Get the iPad to be right side up. His name is Richard Andrew, and he does have a personal email address, but he has set up peel boards, all one word, no hyphens, no spaces, at cccbr.or.uk.
ORG.
Oh,
ORG.
Should be ORG.
Yes.
Yes, ORG.uk.
Oh, thank you. Anyway, peel boards and CCCBR stands for Central Council of Church Bell Ringers. You probably know that at cccbr.org.uk. Thank you.
So he's requesting volunteers contacts to supply peel board photos, and there is a database. If anybody wants to look at this article that I photocopied, you're more than welcome to. So that's one thing they're looking for.
And they can be old or new.
Well, yeah, the old ones are probably what they're really looking for.
Not necessarily. I've corresponded with him.
Okay, well, we got old ones and new ones.
Yeah.
There's two promotional videos that are on, you can locate by looking at the Central Council front page website. And thanks to David, last night, if you were here, they were running on a loop on the screen. One's a 2-minute long promotional video. One is 9 minutes long. And of course, seeing them and thinking about it, my thought was, why can't the North American Guild produce a promotional video that's 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes long that we could use for recruitment, for publicity, or whatever? So think about that. If anybody has any interest in that, you can see any one of us or Tom, our public relations officer. And it would be nice to have one for us. Now, they had George Perrin do it. Those of you that have been around for a while will remember that he did a DVD quite a few years ago called Craft the Bell Ringing. I still have so many of them in my basement that nobody is using that old technology anymore, unfortunately. So that's another option that we can do. Bells on Sunday. Philip Orm is always looking for new recordings to put on the BBC on Sunday mornings. Now, we've had in the past some of our towers, but it's been a while. And there's a handout that I printed that tells you how to do it and how to get it to him and how much time he's looking for. And then, of course, they shorten it down to like maybe 45 seconds to a minute. But that is something we can make ourselves more in the forefront of ringing. I'm going to ask right now, and I'll come back to this. Beverly is going to do a short synopsis of the Central Council meeting that we just came back from earlier this month.
Before you go there, there's a question that came from Andrea. This request for peel boards, was it peels only or quarter peels as well?
I think it's just peels. But I
Well,
don't
they're
know.
tying it to bellboard. I don't know the answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you need to take to Richard.
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't have an answer to that, but that's a good question, and we could see if we can find that out.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Eileen asked me to do about 3 minutes. The actual meeting went for about 3 hours, and the only reason we quit was because they were gonna lock us into the venue at 6 o'clock. There are 3 really things that I wanted to mention. The first one was the election, which was very interesting because nobody ran against the president or the deputy president. And the new president is Tina Steckman, who many of you know. who learned to ring it in Kalamazoo. The deputy president is Vicki Chapman, who used to be PR officer. There were two people running for the new slot for ordinary trustee, and it was Allison Hodge and Ian Rolston, and Ian won by 1 vote, 60 by 59, excuse me. So he's the new trustee. The interesting thing about that is that now of the executive, we have 4 women and 4 men, and 2 American women, Tina and myself. Okay, the next interesting thing was we had a couple of motions. Couple I will just bother mention because it isn't really affect us too much. One was about small societies, which is now available within the Central Council. And the other one was about the library, because we had a great deal of work trying to figure out what to do with the library. Because a lot of people have it in their homes and it's just become overwhelming. So we mainly got down between the Loughborough founder and going to the Cambridge University. The problem with sending to the university, which looked better appealing to start with, we had to donate the entire library. Which meant at any point that they didn't need space more, they could throw it out. Plus, there might be a restriction in terms of who could get in. So we restricted that, and it now is going to go to the Loughborough Beltons. I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. Taylor's. Wrote it down. Okay, the more important one was about wanting to lower the number of members of the council, and this was left over from the Cragg thing from about 5 or 6 years ago. The problem was that they wanted to. There were two issues. The main issue was to lower it down to about half it is now, which is about 100 times, just under 200. So David Kilparty, who was then the vice president, was trying to lower it to anybody up to 200 would only get 1 member. Anything up to 400 would be 2 members, and anything above that would only be 3 members. In addition to that, John Harrison wanted to lower it to 1 for every guild and association. That didn't go at all. In fact, he didn't actually send it forward because there were so many people upstanding about ahead of time that it never went through. The major discussion went for a very, very long time. The bottom line was we all voted, the majority of us voted for none at all. So that did not go. It'll go to the current numbers that we have. Unfortunately, we have recently gone from 4 to 3. So we need to get 15 more people to get back up to 500. So we can get the 4th member again. So we just want to go for that. And the only other thing to mention, anybody who would like to be on their own expense to go to England, you're always welcome to join. You're not allowed to vote or speak, but if you want to go, as many of us that have a spouse or somebody that goes to the meeting has always been able to do. So next year it will be Devonshire in 2024.
Where in Devonshire?
I don't know yet. Do you know the number?
They think it's going to be Exeter.
Exeter, makes sense. And in 2025 will be Yorkshire.
What dates?
They're always going to be the first weekend in September. Thank you.
Thank you, Beverly. So going back to the volunteers needed and help wanted, Central Council posts little flyers and they had them all over the meeting about help wanted, help wanted. So what I see so far is we could use a appeal board liaison. We could use a videographer. And Josh is going to talk about the possibility of getting an assistant.
Thank you. Hi, this is something I raised briefly in the last issue of the Clapper. Being your editor is wonderful, but it's also a giant job. Occasionally in the past, we've had editors have editorial assistants, assistant editors, or whole editorial teams to spread some of that work out. The main thing I would need help with is basically just doing layout. That's going to be done in Microsoft Publisher, which is basically a take this thing and move it around and click it and move it around the screen. It's a relatively intuitive interface. So there's a little bit of learning involved, but it's not that hard to learn how to do. Because the most of the big thing of the work is figuring out, okay, where does this column go? How do I integrate it with this other column? And above all, how do the columns and all of the photos fit together? The main technological requirement, you're obviously going to need a computer that can handle Microsoft Publisher. And if somebody is willing to step forward as assistant editor or whatever, the big job requirement is you need to be comfortable with file sharing. We're going to need to share files either through something like Dropbox or something like Google Drive, because you cannot email publisher files back and forth. They're too giant. So we need to have some sort of system for, we save this on Google Drive or whatever, and one of us takes it out and edits it, or one of us takes a chunk of it out and copy edits that. So that's how that would work. That's the big technical requirement that I'm looking for in a prospective equipped assistant. It would be great if somebody is interested in doing that. And if you are at all interested or want to learn more, please send me an email. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you. 2025 AGM, been making soft inquiries from towers that are having milestones. So as soon as I hear something, you'll know.
And I think you said something about 2026 having at least a. Oh, sorry.
We're on top of it.
Yeah. 2026, there is a possibility of a tower that is thinking about hosting it. So as soon as we get something more definitive, I will let the membership know. So, the only other thing I wanted to mention is Bill's son, well, no, there's a couple other things, but in this new business, the Central Council has put out the date for the next Bell Sunday, which those of you that read the Central Council, they came up with this day for the clergy to advertise bells and do hymns and songs and readings and all kinds of things dealing with bells and trying to promote bells in their tower. So I used that as part of my letter when I write to the rectors. I've written to some rectors that are new, don't even realize they have bells in their building, which is kind of frustrating. It's very frustrating. Yeah. Anyhow, I think I'm down now to announcements, and there's quite a few of them. Oh, Bell Sundays. Yes, thank you. Thank you. The date, May 12th of 2024 is Bell Sunday, which is probably also Mother's Day. Or the second Sunday of the month.
Not in the UK.
Oh, not in the UK. Sorry about that. Okay.
Do you have a Mother's Day?
Not in, yeah, not in the UK, but here it is. So, one, I want, and I know everybody's going to agree with me, that we need to thank Toronto for again making this another wonderful experience event, which is only really half over. And I know, and I know all of you, well, most of you know that AGMs take a team of people to be successful. And Toronto has one of the best groups ever. So a round of applause. And I have more after this, but I'm now going to introduce John Solomon from Sewanee, who is going to share some information about next year's AGM.
Thank you, Eileen. And before I just want to say thanks to the St. James Guild Change Ringers for being a role model for us next year. And Sewanee will be hosting the 2024 AGM. And our dates are October 18th to the 21st next year. And it's going to be an honor. And I think it's a pleasure to host you all. I hope that as many as possible come. It will be the 20th anniversary of the installation of our Bentley House, which is a ring of 8. So it's a big occasion for us. We're hosting it over fall break. And so that in a sense for the logistics will be easier for ringing. There will not be students, or there'll be a small number of students there that weekend. So we will start on Friday and go through Monday is the plan. And I'll distribute the save the date cards, and there's some extra if you could take to your towers. And on the back of the card, there's my name, email, and telephone number, and also that of Ray Gopko, who many of you know, and he's the mainstay behind what we do. So again, it's just a great honor. And thank you very much.
Yes, and I think a lot of people are gonna go because it's gonna be the first time Salani has held an AGM, and a lot of people still haven't been there, so I think it's gonna be wonderful. It's a great place.
It'll be a beautiful time of the year.
Beautiful bells.
And we're on the Cumberland Plateau, and it's be really beautiful. Then one thing I will mention also, we'll coordinate with Marietta, and hello, Mary. And St. Luke's in Atlanta, and some of you have mentioned Ringing and Birmingham. So these are 3 towers within 2.5 hours from Sewanee. So maybe on a Sunday afternoon, we can coordinate go back to go and bring us those towers. So,
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. So you want to, you can pass them out? All right, all right, I was gonna talk about the Arts Youth Awards. Now, I think it was 2021, Bryn and Leland, and I think Leland's at least there, and maybe Bryn is too, won a special award for Ringing Room. And then this year, Tom Farthing won a highly commended award for excellence in recruitment and retention. So this year they've been pushing, and I don't know, maybe some of you would think your tower might want to apply. It is the Sarah Beecham Youth Awards 800-pound prize pot for groups who are successfully recruiting, retaining, and developing young ringers. I don't know what a young ringer is, but you know, are they under 20? Are they under 25? Are they under 30? But anyhow, I think under 60, anybody that thinks they might want to apply, it's not unheard of that North America has won some of these awards. So I'd like to see it again. The December 31st is the deadline. Ringing World Discount, Ed Butcher did this last year. He was able to get a 25% discount for new or lapsed subscribers. And it's for either a printed copy or for an online copy. I was able to get that again. I saw the editor at the council meeting and I asked him and he said, why not? So I have that. And we really have been getting quite a bit of press in the ringing world lately. So it would really be nice to support them as much as we can. I get a personal copy. I know a lot of you have tower copies. I think we should try and support the ringing world as best we can, as they keep telling me they're going to keep posting some of our articles and letters and things. And like I said, Yolanda's in there this week talking about Westminster Abbey. So I hope we can get some people. So if you want to take advantage of this, see me. Those of you who want to stay for the discussion and the Q&A on the recent art modules, it's going to happen right as soon as I conclude the meeting, which I think I'm getting close to doing. Dinner is at 7:30 p.m. at the Hot House, and I know there's going to be more ringing, and there's going to be on both sets of bells. And I'll ask now, does anybody else have any announcements that they want to share? Yes, Helen.
At the dedication, not dedicate, well, at the University of Chicago dedication put on by the Chicago Bell, for the Chicago Bells. I'm not a good public speaker, sorry. They printed a lovely souvenir program. There are 3 copies of it. And there may be as many as half a dozen bell-shaped cookies still left. That have been in my freezer ever since. If you're here in person and you get to that table, go for it.
Any other announcements? Okay, well then I declare the meeting over. Oh, yeah, Garmin, I need a motion for adjournment. Where's Garmin? Okay.
She's second.
Okay, good, thank you. Thank you. I was, okay.
Any, oh,
So who was the first person? Meredith?
Meredith.
Meredith and, or one or two of them. Meredith and Candace, so you can make one the all in favor. All right,
Now we can applaud.
now we can. applaud. Thank you, okay. Okay, you're the big. All right.
Want to speak with the.
So I'm gonna
this-
take. I'm gonna stop recording.
Wait, want to remind us what the reading schedules this afternoon.
Yeah, okay.